real quick, a couple of loose ends to tie. Zach Ertz has been placed on the COVID list, according to Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network. Ertz is vaccinated, so there's a chance that he could still play on Monday night as long as he has no symptoms and 2 negative tests 24 hours apart. So that is the latest on Zach Ertz. So let's get the latest on everything else. Jeff Kerr, CBS Sports, covers the NFL. He is with us now as we have a laundry list of things to kind of go over. Jeff Kerr, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good, Mike. Doing pretty good. It's definitely an overreaction Monday, to say the least.
Well, let's overreact to some things. But first, Jeff Kerr is brought to you by the expert solar team of New Jersey, EMT Solar and Roofing and Solar Guardians. Start your solar journey today by learning more. Visit espnsolar.com. All right, let's take care of some loose ends here. First off, Brandon Graham out for the season, Jeff. How do they compensate for the loss of Graham? How do you see them working in the defensive end spot?
I definitely think it's going to be Josh Sweat and Derek Barnett, Mike. I don't think you rotate those two or keep them on their side of the field. I think you got to play both of them. You have to see what you have in Derek Barnett, obviously. You already know what you got in Josh Sweat. You signed him to a 3-year, $40 million deal for this reason. So Josh Sweat is going to get his reps. Derek Barnett is going to get his reps. I think you rotate Milton Williams in there at defensive end, get him some more playing time, put Ryan Kerrigan in there. Losing Brandon Graham is huge for this football team, and Nick Sirianni said today, I said yesterday, he's the heart and soul of this football team. And it's a shame. It really is a shame because you know what? Their pass rush definitely took a hit yesterday.
Yep, no doubt. Brandon Graham done for the year, Achilles tear. I don't know. I mean, I guess Graham will be back, but, man, he's going to be 34 years old coming off an Achilles tear. We might not see the same Brandon Graham ever again.
Yeah, and hopefully he gets to finish his career with the Eagles. I assume he will. Eagles will probably try to restructure his deal, but it's a shame because he was really good the last year. He was really good the last couple years. He just seems to be getting better with age. Seemed like the only thing that could ever slow him down was an injury. And you play in the 161 of the last 162 games, that's where those Achilles tears. That's where it sucks. Like you don't hope something like that happens to a guy like Brandon Graham, but he's been through adversity throughout his career, Mike. He'll bounce back from it.
Yep, we'll see what the future holds for Graham. Remember, they did redo that contract. They gave him an extension, so he is signed through next year as well. All right, coming up next, you've got Brandon Brooks now. He has been diagnosed with a pec strain, which is different from a torn pec, which means there's a possibility that Brooks does return at some point, but it looks like he's going to go to injured reserve, which means he could miss at least 3-4 weeks and maybe even longer. But I guess the positive is he's not done for the year.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? You just got to get through this tough stretch of games. Honestly, if you had to pick when Brandon Brooks is going to get hurt, I guess you would pick now, right? You wouldn't pick toward the end of the year when you need him against the NFC East. They're going to miss him on Monday night against the Dallas Cowboys. I will say that, Mike. They will miss him there, but Landon Dickerson's got to be better. He allowed 5 pressures, 4 hurries. He was credited, I think, with allowing that sack to Nick Bosa. I know Nick Bosa got the sack, but by PFF, I guess he was credited for that sack. He just wasn't – he was thrown to the fire yesterday. And, he's a rookie. He's going to get better. He's a good player. But we'll see how he does with a week's worth of practice. He's no Brandon Brooks yet, but he has the potential a bit.
Yeah, break this down a little bit. So, Mailata, everybody's getting on your case because you tweeted out Mailata's stats. No pressures, no quarterback hits, no sacks. Well, the video clearly shows that Bosa pushed him back, but he wasn't credited with giving up the sack, even though Bosa got the sack. How's that work?
I told the one guy whose tweet went viral and again, I don't want to get into the conversation, but I said, that's a great angle, and you're not wrong, but please show the entire play, not just the highlight. And, from that side, I'm like, show the other side of the line. And he told me I didn't know what I was talking about. And I showed him the actual play, and he's like, oh, wait. I'm like, yeah, so you just went viral for no reason. So I love Twitter. But, yeah, so what it looked like was, at least from my vantage point, I initially felt before I saw the play, and again, I watched the game twice before this, and I felt, okay, Bosa's going into the C gap. Mailata kind of lets his guard down a bit when he rushes from basically a linebacker spot. That's a no-win situation for a left tackle. Now I'm thinking, what's PFF thinking here? Because again, I don't think PFF is gospel by any means, or I'm not really that crazy about them, but I do kind of like the context of them. So I rewatched the play again from the broadcast angle, from two more different angles in the All-22. That sack was pretty much the center and the right guard getting pushed in the Jalen Hurts, and he had nowhere to go. And Nick Bosa was
he didn't have a chance to step up into the pocket because the pocket got thrown into his lap. That said, Bosa was the guy who ends up getting the sack. So I guess PFF looks at that and says, well, the sack wouldn't have occurred had the center and guard not got pushed back. Even though Bosa got the sack, I guess I don't know, Mailata didn't. But that being said, even if Mailata gave up the sack, 33 pass blocking snaps, 0 pressure, 0 quarterback hats, 0 sacks. Even if he gave up the sack, the guy has been one of the top-rated offensive linemen in all of football through 2 games.
Yeah, and, it's funny. One of the Eagles writers, he does a lot of the film breakdowns on Twitter, Thomas Peterson. I got to give him some credit here. He's a big PFF guy, and he even said, he goes, why are we acting like Jordan Mailata is a terrible football player? Because he's not. And, everybody's like, oh, well, they're wrong. I'm like, he still had a good game. Like, it seemed like the more people saw it or, down the line, not instant reaction that people actually thought about. And 49ers fans even said the same thing. They're like, I don't know what Eagles fans are talking about. He played really well yesterday compared to what he was with. And it seemed like, when the rational people started talking, he really did play a good game, even if, PFF don't give him credit for that sack. Even if you did, like, Jordan Mailata played a really
well. I thought the offensive line in general played pretty well. I didn't have a lot of problem. I thought that the guy who had the rough day was Nick Sirianni. I mean, the play calls are one thing, but I thought more play design was the bigger problem.
I thought so too. I thought it was play design. I think they definitely had a hit when Brandon Brooks got injured. Landon Dickerson didn't have that great of an afternoon yesterday. But again, we talked about it earlier, baptism by fire. But I agree with you. Nick Sirianni, some of those calls, I'm thinking, like the Philly special 4th down play, I laughed. I'm like, come on, man. Like, this is the best you got. Like, Jalen Hurts is a running quarterback. Put the ball into the end zone like the Ravens did it with Lamar Jackson. She's to Patrick Mahomes. The Justin Herbert, he doesn't look like a fast guy, but he is. The Chargers do that with him. I don't understand why the Eagles just couldn't do that with Jalen Hurts 4 times. They would have gotten him once.
Yeah, the play on the Philly special, it didn't even appear that Hurts knew that he was supposed to go out for the pass. He was kind of standing there. They just did not have a route to run there. The one play on the inside, it looked like a pitch should have been made, but there was so much cluster that Hurts, I think, just decided not to pitch. So you had a couple of plays with not a lot of options inside that goal line. Now, that being said, Jeff, I also thought they took too many shots down the field. Last week they didn't take any. This week I thought they took too many.
Yeah, talk about cloud chasing, Mike. I mean, they were trying to go for every Twitter highlight known to man, just throwing the ball down the field. I'm like, look, I get the 49ers quarterbacks are beat up here, but what are we doing? Diamandre Leonore, he had a tremendous game, and he gave up the 91-yard pass to Quez Watkins. He still had a tremendous game. Josh Norman, I've been calling him Bert Toast since pretty much he left the Panthers. Look what he did against Devonta Smith yesterday. Devonta Smith was a non-factor, and that's what worried me, Mike. Once Devonta Smith kind of got covered, Jalen Hurts is like, okay, what do we do here? But Nick Sirianni didn't help him out either because you're taking deep shots down the field all day. Like, run 12 personnel. Run 21 sweep. Get your backs involved. Get your tight ends involved. That's how you beat this defense.
Yeah, I know that Smith and Rieger, both guys, and Rieger, of course, had the touchdown catch that got called out because he stepped out of bounds. Both those guys had tough days. So why didn't they use Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert more?
That's what I would say. Like, they didn't even use them in the second half, and coincidentally, they removed the ball when they were getting it to him. But it's not like, look, Fred Warner's a really good linebacker, and he was covering one of them, but they weren't even running like 12 personnel that much. And I don't know, maybe they had to leave Dallas Goedert back down there to the block after Brandon Brooks got hurt. Again, I got to watch it. I probably have to watch this game again. I watched it twice. I'm still really confused on what the Eagles were doing. I don't know. I just feel like it was Nick Sirianni being a rookie head coach. I feel like if he's been in the league 3 or 4 years, I'd be really concerned. But overall, it's like, okay, Nick, after your initial 15, 20 plays, you didn't do much.
Yeah, the offense was very kind of stagnant all day long. Let me flip over to the defense. We got 17 points. You would think that's a winnable game. How did you think Jonathan Gannon did in week 2 against this 49er team?
The defense got a lot of criticism too, and I felt it was unnecessary because because whatever, they didn't get pressure on Jimmy Garoppolo or whatever, and Jonathan Gannon. I heard the Jim Schwartz cloud again, and I'm like, come on, man. Like, this defense.
Well, you know what's going to happen because Gannon doesn't blitz.
No, he doesn't, and I don't really care, honestly. Most defensive coordinators don't blitz anymore. Steve Spagnuolo is really the only one who, in my opinion, who at least blitzes. Dan Quinn sometimes, but it's all about getting pressure now, and Jimmy Garoppolo just got rid of the ball quick, but this defense held their own. I know they let up a 16-play and 12-play drive that led to touchdowns, but you got to look at the end of the day. 49ers were the only team to score 40 points last week. And I know 7 were off a pick 6, but still, that's a lot of points. Mm-hmm. And the Eagles only allowed 17. They only allowed like 320-some yards. Wasn't a bad day overall. They're top 5 in yards allowed. They're top 2 in points allowed. It's 11.5 points per game. I don't know what else you want to hear. I think your defense has been more than fine, and honestly, it's the reason they're 1-1.
Well, we'll find out what they're made of with,
Yeah, they got a test this week.
Test this week, but also with Brandon Graham out. Let's real quick touch on the Ertz. He's on the COVID list now. Apparently, he is vaccinated, which means I guess he could have a shot then to play on Monday night.
Yeah, he does. So it's 5 days and you got to have two negative tests within 24 hours. So. Yeah, I'm not too worried about stats for Monday night. They got the extra day. He'll have a short week of practice, but I think he'll be good to go.
All right, Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. Now, obviously, Ertz has not had a big factor. You almost wonder if Ertz isn't there, do they utilize Goddard more instead of trying to appease both of them?
You would think, right? I think they go more 11 personnel. I think they kind of – and again, Dallas Goedert's had a really good career against the Dallas Cowboys, so I would go with Dallas Goedert anyway. And yeah, I think Dallas Goedert is going to be a huge part of the game plan Monday night. If you had Dallas Goedert on your fantasy football team, I would suggest playing him. If you don't, I would suggest signing him if you need a tight end. I think he's going to have a big game against them, and because Dallas isn't going to put Micah Parsons in coverage like they should. They're going to rush him. So I think that leaves an opportunity, a door open for Dallas Goedert to make some plays down the field.
All right, I want to get your thought on Watkins. He had the big catch in the game, obviously. And just how much more can he evolve in this offense?
Well, you got to love the explosiveness. Mike, he had the 70-yard touchdown catch in the preseason, had the 91-yard catch. It probably should have been a touchdown. He's a big play threat, and I think teams are going to watch out on film and say, okay, we got to watch out for this guy, especially when he's on the football field. He can make a lot of big plays for you. So I think he's just going to get better by the week. He's only played like 7 or 8 career games and already has a 100-yard game to his credit, 2 catches, 117 yards. I think he ended up, if I'm not mistaken, he was like top 7, top 8 in receiving yards yesterday. So a pretty good day. And I think the potential is there for him to be a big play receiver for this football team going forward, especially when you got Devonta Smith and Jalen Reagor. I want to see Jalen Reagor make a play like that next.
Yeah, they've used Watkins in the bubble screen. Now, I didn't see a lot. Like, the bubble screen was kind of out of the offense yesterday. I thought they used it really well in week 1, and then I think they only did it 3 or 4 times yesterday.
And they barely used it, yeah. Maybe they're saving it for Dallas. I don't know. Maybe they felt San Francisco could read it better. Yeah, I was really confused by that. I thought we'd see more bubble screens. I thought we'd see more quick passes. Obviously, Jalen Hurts didn't go across the middle enough. He doesn't seem comfortable going across the middle. That's something he has to work on as a quarterback. I will say that.
All right, we got the Dallas Charger game yesterday, too. What'd you think of that? Ugly game, kind of a, much like the Eagles game, ugly kind of game. But I thought Dallas's defense, you got to give them credit, which is a questionable point for them. They stepped up on the road and got a big win.
Oh, they looked good yesterday. I'll say, they got after Justin Herbert a lot. Micah Parsons on the edge, keep him on the edge. I mean, he can play middle linebacker. He can play Sam. He can play on the edge. He can pretty much play anywhere on that defense. I think he makes that much of a difference for them. I knew their defense would be better this year. I didn't know how much, and I got to give credit to Micah Parsons. I got to give credit to DeMarcus Lawrence. I thought Jalen Smith played pretty well yesterday. Again, their cornerbacks look a lot better too. It's definitely a different Dallas defense than last year, and they were getting better toward the end of last year. But I think Dan Quinn took them up another level. Yeah,
there's no doubt they have better personnel. Now you mentioned Parsons. It looks like they're probably going to end up keeping him in that defensive end role. You can't have him everywhere. You say, well, they need to put him in coverage. You can't have him. He's not Bugs Bunny, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can't bang first base, Bugs Bunny, second base, Bugs Bunny. No, you can't do that. You can't have 2 Micah Parsons on the field. So that's where Jalen Smith and Leighton Vander Esch has to come around, and that's great if Micah Parsons can get to the quarterback and disrupt him enough. But what do you do when the quarterback beats you?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, it's interesting because I'm wondering if the Eagles, use more of Avery, to try to, unleash some more pass rushing situation. Now, you said, hey, you signed Josh Sweat. He only played 40% of the snaps again this week. So they didn't sign him to that deal and then unleash him. They still kind of suppressed his snaps too. So I'm really interested to see how they end up tackling this Graham loss here. And then real quick on Brooks, do you think Landon Dickerson will be the guy, or is it going to be Herbig or maybe even Jack Driscoll?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, Landon Dickerson was the guy they went with yesterday. So I assume they go with him. They use a second-round pick on him, and they think he's ready. He's ready. And I would go with Landon Dickerson again. I think between the three, I like all three, but I think Dickerson has the most talent, and why not put a rookie into the fire, right, Mike?
Well, he didn't practice much at all next to Lane Johnson, so maybe with a full week he might have better preparation. All right, Jeff Kerr, CBS Sports, 97.3 ESPN, covering the Eagles, and, of course, the Eagles lose 17-11. They fall to 1-1. They'll play the Cowboys Monday night, a week from tonight, and you can hear that game right here on 97.3 ESPN. All right, Jeff, we'll talk to you Wednesday, man.
Yeah, sounds great. It's going to be an interesting week. The Monday games are weird to me, Mike, because I watch Monday Night Football, but I'm not religiously tuned in. I'm never sure which broadcast to watch. Should I watch Peyton Manning or should I watch Steve Levy? And maybe I'll go on ESPN Plus. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what
the Kerr remote will get a workout tonight.
You know what? I have 3 TVs in here for a reason. So
there you
maybe
go.
I'll watch all.
CBS with the big budget. They gave you 3 TVs over there. Jeff Kerr, CBS Sports. All right, brother. Take care.
CBS.
There he goes. Jeff Kerr back on Wednesday to break it all down here on the Sports Bash. And Jeff Kerr's appearance is brought to you by EMT Solar and Roofing and Solar Guardians. Start your solar journey today. Learn more by visiting ESPNSolarDoctors.com.